Anime can be a pretty controversial subject to talk about. The people I've talked to about it either love anime or hate it with an irrational burning passion. Personally, I like anime. Sure, there are a lot of problems when it comes to the storytelling and bad anime out there, but if you're refusing to watch anime just because of the way it looks, you're really doing yourself a disservice. I personally started watching in 2018, and through countless shows and countless YouTube videos of people a part of the anime community, I've learned a lot and understand a lot of the in-jokes within the community. The reason I point this out is because the anime industry in 2021 is about to do something it hasn't done in the past. For once, we're getting a lot of sequels. For people that don't watch a lot of anime, let me fill you in. Pretty much every show in anime is based off of a manga or a light novel that has come out before it. So almost every show has a pre-existing property that it's based off of. So anime studios typically just try to throw a bunch of anime at the wall and see what sticks. This creates this issue where they start an anime, leave it on a cliffhanger for a potential season 2, but never revisit it. And sure, when there's really good shows or really profitable shows, they'll continue to make more, such as Dragon Ball Z or Pokemon. This is really disappointing to see with the limitless potential of the medium of animation. These studios are able to create any kind of story they dream of. And these can lead to these beautiful moments that really resonate with you and stick with you for the rest of your life. If you've ever seen a Ghibli movie, you know what I mean. So seeing these stories and worlds build up a bunch of hype and create this whole new universe just to never be seen again really leaves a bitter taste in your mouth. But this year, we're getting a lot of continuations to shows, so hopefully they can follow through with the hype they've built up. So today, let me take you through the anime getting continuations this year. Also, this list is going to be spoiler free. So for people who have never watched anime or are thinking about getting into anime, this is a good what to watch list for you. And for previous anime fans, you might find a show you haven't watched before or didn't know was continuing. Attack on Titan takes place in a world where giant monsters called Titans roam the Earth. Humanity lives inside of a wall that protects them from the Titans. Their entire way of life is changed though as a giant Titan that had never been seen before breaks through the wall and disappears immediately. The show really builds up a lot of mystery for the audience to be wondering what's going to happen next. And trust me, by the end of the third season, it doesn't even feel like the same show that it is in the first. But Attack on Titan is getting its final season, so this one's a perfect one to jump into. You can watch the starting and catch up to where it is now, and finish off the show with the rest of the people that have been fans for years. That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime is a show about a man who dies in Japan and gets reincarnated as a slime. In his dying wishes, he makes a bunch of requests for what he's feeling at the current moment, but little did he know he was building his next body for his next life. This turns out to be a slime. Part of these abilities he's built, though, gives him things like heat resistance or the ability to absorb other monsters and gain their powers. So this show takes place in a fantasy world where a guy who has been turned into a slime slowly builds up power, wealth, and a city. If you're a fan of the Civilization games, I think you'll really enjoy this show because you get to watch the growth of a city. One day a giant beam of light overcasts over the earth, and everyone's turned into stone. From here, our protagonist Senku, about 2,000 years later, is brought back to life. He slowly unfreezes his friends and has to build society up from ground zero. This is another one of those cases of if you like Civilization or Minecraft even, it's a really satisfying anime to watch. And one of the other cooler things about this show is that all the science in it is scientifically accurate. So all the things they do in the show you could do in real life. Probably not recommended for some of them, but you can. ReZero. One day a guy's transported into another world for unknown circumstances, but it's a fantasy world, so he just goes about his day, he wanders around until one minute he dies. But after he dies, he's brought back to life again from the previous point where he started. So you join our main protagonist Subaru as he keeps going through, trying to get an outcome that he likes, and setting these save points throughout his experiences. Another piece to add on to this show is that all the deaths he experiences, so there's a lot of psychological aspects to this of him, suffering and dying over and over again. Promised Neverland. Alright, this one is one of my favorite anime of all times. I'm going to keep this one very brief though, because if I say too much about it, it'll spoil everything. Basically, there's a bunch of kids at this orphanage in a very sunny, peaceful, happy day, and every day is amazing, and strangely enough, they get tested every day on their aptitudes for science, math, and all that jazz. However, one day one of the kids gets adopted, and from there the twists and turns start going. Again, I don't want to say too much about this one because if you haven't seen it, I really recommend you watch it, and season 2 can only be better from here. Please, I don't look anything up, just watch episode 1 and you'll get what I mean. Next we got Quintessential Quintuplets. This is a show about a guy who is hired to tutor these 5 quintuplets. However, the first scene of the show is him getting married to one of the quintuplets. It's a nice little romance show that has a bit of a mystery aspect because since they're quintuplets, you don't know which one he's marrying in the end. So it's a mixture of wholesome romance as well as trying to figure out who he's going to marry by the end of the show. And this is getting a season 2, so I mean you're not too far behind if you start now. Log Horizon is a show where people are transported into the world of a video game. Anyone who's logged into this video game all got transported into this alternate world that is exactly like the video game. So people are trying to figure out more about their situation, how to get back. If they die, do they actually die or do they respawn like the game? A lot of it is this mystery aspect of trial and error and figuring out how to make their new way of life in this new world. Beastars, oh my gosh, what an amazing show. Beastars is... Most people have described it like Zootopia, but taking it a step further. I think it's kind of an injustice to compare it to Zootopia because it's way better than Zootopia. It's basically set in this alternate universe where animals are like prevalent beings. They're like the humanoid beings going about daily life, going to school and all that jazz. You know, like Zootopia. However, a piece they actually kind of get right more naturally is that the predators and the prey still have the instincts of the respective animals that they are. And one of the mysteries built up at the beginning of the show is that one of the students goes missing. You know, and because it's a world of predator and prey, it's most likely a predator has eaten one of their fellow students and they have to go on throughout their daily lives. It's a very interesting show that's a huge commentary on, you know, playing the role that you're given at birth. I'm definitely going to say the imagery in this one is a bit weirder, as a fair warning, and so if you are new to anime, this is probably not the first thing you should watch. You should maybe watch a couple other anime, then come back to Beastars, but it's definitely going to be worth your time. We got My Hero Season 5. My Hero Academia is a world where 80% of people have superpowers known as quirks. Midoriya, our main character, doesn't have a quirk. He's part of the 20% that doesn't have one, but has always wanted to be a superhero his entire life. One day his idol, All Might, comes to him and offers him his power and that he can be a hero if he's willing to put in the work. It's a really fun show of, you know, following Midoriya as he's growing into his powers that he just obtained, as well as the other students in the classroom also growing into their powers at the same time. This one's on Season 5 and doesn't seem to have any point of stopping or slowing down anytime soon, so this is definitely a good one to get into. This is closer to your Dragon Ball or your Pokemon if that's kind of the thing you're into. Alright, we are now getting into the unannounced category. So this is stuff that is supposedly coming out in 2021, but could also be pushed back to 2022. With the whole COVID thing, we're not exactly sure. However, I think it's still valuable to include in this video, because if it doesn't come out in 2021, it should all definitely come out in 2022, and that gives you enough time to watch all these shows. Rising of the Shield Hero. A guy is transported into another world. In this alternate world, he's given the title of being the Shield Hero. There are 4 different heroes in this world, spear, sword, and bow, and all of them are recruited to build different parties to stop the waves of enemies that income every couple months. But the Shield Hero is falsely accused of crimes that he didn't commit, so most of this show is just him trying to get revenge and still help the people at the same time. It's this really weird mix, and it's very satisfying to watch throughout and keep up with. This one is getting both a Season 2 and Season 3, supposedly for 2021, so this is a good one to get into before the end of the year. How Not to Summon a Demon Lord is getting a Season 2. It's not that good, and if you want to see some of the trash anime, I guess I'd recommend it, but it's just getting a Season 2 for who knows why. I don't know, there's probably about 5 other shows I would have given it to. Kobayashi's Dragon Maid. One day, Miss Kobayashi is out on a stroll in a drunken stupor when she helps save a dragon. Little did she know that she offered this dragon a place to stay with her. This ends up being a wholesome show of a dragon learning how to live amongst humans. And slowly more dragons come from the alternate reality of dragons to this human world to try and integrate and live a more peaceful life. I didn't want to get hurt, so I maxed out my stats in defense. As the title suggests, this show is about a girl who plays a video game who doesn't want to feel pain that is simulated in the VR headset that they are provided, so she maxes out her defense stat. Although in most MMO players' eyes it would be a dumb decision, it ends up working out for her and she slowly becomes the most powerful character in the game. I think something really cool about this anime is a lot of animes that end up utilizing another world will typically set it just in another world so the character is overpowered and then they stay overpowered. Whereas this show has it be a game, so when she's overpowered in the beginning, they can kind of nerf her through both the story and the in-universe game of the story, you know, to kind of keep the show more interesting. And also some of the in-game events that they have represented in the show make me really want to have a game that is exactly like this in-show game. Made in Abyss is an anime about an abyss that exists on Earth that people can travel into and find relics and artifacts and sell them for money. A lot of people will move to this area to try and strike it rich. However, beyond that, there's a mystery element, and as you go deeper into the abyss, you lose more and more of your humanity. So we watch as two kids essentially travel further and deeper into the abyss to try and find one of their moms. This show is really beautiful, however, if you are new to anime, this is again one of those, maybe not on the first anime shows. Like, this is definitely a couple anime in type of shows. It's really good, but there's definitely some scenes that'll make people uncomfortable. My next life as a villainess and all paths lead to doom. One day, this rich girl hits her head on the pavement and regains memories of a past life. Turns out that past life is one of her being very into video games, and it turns out that she is the main antagonist. So remembering the game from her past life, she's trying to make decisions in her current life to try not to get executed as all the paths lead to in the game from her past life. Kaguya-sama Love is War is a show about two people that both love each other, but refuse to admit it to one another. So each episode is different schemes to try and get one to confess to the other, while both are unyielding in getting the other one to do it. Science fell in love, so I tried to prove it. This show has the leading female science student confessing her love to her lab partner. From there, her lab partner tells her to prove that she actually loves him. So it's a fun little show where in each episode they go through a different experiment and see if she actually loves him. And even beyond that, there are shows that I don't know. And this doesn't even consider the new shows coming out. This is just things getting a season 2 or 3 or 4 or 5, depending on what show it is. So please, if you've never watched anime before or you're looking to get into it, watch some shows. Watch them on this list. I mean, it's a good time and you'll find some shows you like. Thank you guys for watching. If you like the video, like button, that's the thing. If you want to see more content, subscribe, and there will be another video on Saturday. See you then.